Up first, terror suspect David Headley has been charged with plotting the Mumbai attacks. And as investigators piece together this puzzle, also emerging are links with the Pakistan Army. Besides a retired major in the Pakistani Army, the FBI is probing David Headley's links with two serving Pakistani Army majors. But will India ever get its hand on the man who was once among those responsible for the most brazen terror attack on Indian soil? Well, here's why that scenario is looking rather unlikely, and perhaps why it was no surprise that Indian investigators returned empty-handed from the US on an attempt to interrogate him. The New York Times says after being caught trafficking in 1998, Headley, then Daud Gilani, switched sides and went on to work with the US Drug Enforcement Administration. In exchange, he got a reduced sentence and, according to the NYT, even did undercover work in Pakistan. As the Daily Beast adds, Headley might have been a double agent who turned on the US. Daud Gilani adopted the name David Headley to ease travel to countries like India. But as the Daily Beast questions, it's unlikely he gave US intelligence and Homeland Security the slip by simply changing his traveling name to an alias that was already known to US authorities. More probably, it says he did enough to continue to merit the protection of the DEA, or by that time had been passed along as a potential asset to another branch of US intelligence. Well, given all this, the question now being asked is whether Headley could strike a similar deal with the US administration this time around. Our defense editor Nitin Gokhale is now joining us for more on this. Nitin, we've seen so many media reports in the US saying that Headley is cooperating, he's helping the investigations. Some, of course, are wondering whether a deal cannot be entirely ruled out at this stage. How seriously is India concerned about this?
Well, there are two aspects to this unfolding saga, Natasha. Basically, the FBI is probing Headley's links with two serving Pakistani army majors. When they went there, they tried to find out what those links meant. Although the FBI team did not get any access to the serving Pakistani army majors who are also operatives of the ISI. That's one aspect of the story. The second and more serious aspect and more significant thing for India is that is there going to be a deal with Headley, between Headley and the US government. It is likely, but Indian government sources insist, although they are cynical about getting access to Headley, they are not very optimistic about getting access to Headley. We'll have to wait and watch till January 14th. When a sentence is to be likely to be pronounced against Headley. If the sentence is light, if it is just 2 years or 3 years, then there is all likelihood there would be a deal between the US government and Headley. That's what the Indian sources are telling us. Right. If not, if it's a life sentence, then of course we don't know whether Headley has now been abandoned by the US authorities. That's the question which will be answered in a month's time or so. Natasha?
Right, that's of course the next big day, Nitin. Also, besides the US links with Pakistan, now we've been reporting how besides that retired major, there are two serving majors now sort of being looked at as part of the probe. What more do you have for us there?
Well, those two majors were already on the radar, and the FBI team which was here last week in India has shared the names and the details of those two serving Pakistani army officers with India. But clearly India cannot do anything in Pakistan. So they are hoping that the FBI team which went there after being in New Delhi would have persuaded or at least prevailed upon the Pakistani authorities to give access to those two majors. We still don't know whether the access was given or not. But clearly that link the US will be much more interested in probing after having done their investigations in US and given the information to India. This is what the matter stands at the moment today.
Right, the beginning of a long investigation there will be some time before we have any concrete answers. Nitin Gokhale reporting there. Thanks very much for joining us on India This Week.
Tuba.com